In the summer of 1876, a quiet, unassuming woman named Betty Mouat embarked on an extraordinary journey that would go down in history as one of the most miraculous survival stories of the sea. Betty, a Scottish woman in her early 50s, had lived a life that many would consider ordinary. Born in the small fishing village of Lerwick in the Shetland Islands, she knew the sea as only a fisherman's daughter could. The rhythm of the waves, the salty winds, the endless horizon. These were not unfamiliar sights to Betty, but little did she know that her knowledge of the sea would soon become the key to her survival in a situation most would never have survived. The story begins when Betty found herself alone on the open water, adrift in a small boat, with no food, no water, and no hope for rescue. But before we dive into the details of this remarkable voyage, we need to understand how Betty came to be in such a dire situation. It all started on the island of Yell, one of the northernmost islands in the Shetland archipelago. Betty had been visiting a relative, and she decided to take the short trip home to Lerwick by boat. It was a journey she had made countless times before, one that she considered routine, and so she set out on a small open boat, powered by a single sail. The weather, however, had different plans for Betty. The skies darkened unexpectedly, and a fierce storm began to brew. Winds howled and waves rose higher with each passing hour. Betty, skilled in handling boats, tried to steer through the storm, but the elements were relentless. The storm grew more violent, and before she knew it, the small boat was pushed far off course. Hours turned into days, and Betty realized that the shore of Lerwick was nowhere in sight. She was lost at sea, miles from the nearest land. But what truly set Betty apart in this harrowing tale was not the initial mistake, but how she chose to survive after she found herself in such a hopeless situation. It wasn't the first time she'd faced hardship, nor would it be the last. Betty's life had been shaped by the unforgiving nature of the sea, and she knew its rhythms and dangers intimately. Still, nothing in her life had prepared her for the ordeal she was about to endure. In the face of an uncertain future, Betty relied on the practical skills she had learned from years of living by the sea. As the storm raged on, she clung to her boat, focusing all her energy on staying afloat. Incredibly, after the storm subsided, the small boat remained intact, and Betty found herself alone in a vast, empty expanse of ocean. The days that followed would stretch into what felt like eternity. The sea, which had always been a place of livelihood for Betty, now became a merciless desert, offering no food, no fresh water. Yet Betty did not lose hope. She remembered the old ways of surviving at sea, how to ration food, how to collect rainwater, how to find solace in the smallest of blessings. Every drop of rain she caught in her hands, every moment of calm when the waves seemed to whisper a lullaby, was a small victory over the odds stacked against her. As the days turned into weeks, Betty's physical strength began to wane. The harsh sun beat down on her, and the wind and salt water took their toll. Her skin became parched, her body weakened, but her spirit remained undeterred. She would not surrender to the ocean. She focused on keeping her boat in the right direction, trusting her instincts as she navigated the waters. The isolation was perhaps the hardest part. Days blurred together, and Betty often wondered if anyone would ever find her, or if she would become just another lost soul swallowed by the sea. But even in her solitude, Betty never gave up. And then, after what felt like an eternity, the unimaginable happened. On the 12th day of her ordeal, a ship appeared on the horizon. It was a whaling vessel, the Polaris, which had been searching for whales in the remote waters. The crew spotted Betty's small boat adrift, and without hesitation, they pulled her aboard. She had survived, against all odds. By the time Betty Mouat was rescued, she had been adrift for 13 days, alone on the open sea. She was emaciated, weak, and sunburned, but she was alive. The miraculous voyage of Betty Mouat would go down in history as one of the most remarkable stories of human endurance and survival. Upon her return to Lerwick, Betty's tale spread far and wide, capturing the imagination of all who heard it. People marveled at her resilience and her incredible ability to survive such an ordeal. The story of her voyage became a symbol of strength and determination in the face of nature's overwhelming power. But Betty, humble, never sought fame or recognition for her survival. She quietly returned to her life in the Shetlands, content to live out her days in the same way she always had, with a deep connection to the sea, and an unwavering belief that life, no matter how difficult, was worth living. Her miraculous journey became a lasting legend in the Shetland Islands, a reminder of the power of human will and the unpredictable nature of the sea. Over time, the story of Betty Mouat became more than just a survival tale. It became a testament to the strength of the human spirit, a story that continues to inspire those who face seemingly insurmountable challenges. Betty Mouat's voyage is not just a story of survival, it is a story of resilience, of the unbreakable bond between a person and the elements, of the will to live when all hope seems lost. Her tale reminds us that, no matter how dire the circumstances, there is always a chance for redemption, a chance for survival, and a chance for a new beginning. Betty's courage in the face of unimaginable odds will never be forgotten, and her story will continue to inspire generations to come. If you enjoyed this incredible story of survival, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more fascinating tales. Stay tuned for more adventures and inspiring journeys from history.